for participating in both Hope Promise and the Neighborhood Center, and really being both only in time but in resources, as you mentioned. And I know going through my own closet and really just realizing, one, you have too much stuff, and two, that there are greater needs in the community, and as part of our work, being thoughtful about how we can contribute not only to the physical needs, but as you said, to the organizational needs around really identifying challenges and successes, right, to better meet the needs of the populations that these organizations serve. So
absolutely. In addition to the caring closet, which we participated in at the Neighborhood Center, we were able to take some time and work with the children that showed up on that day. So there were some read alouds, some short stories that were read, which then students actually converted into a peaceful march, right? So we talked about what was occurring during the civil rights back in the 60s, and what was amazing in that moment, and I'll never forget, is a young man there. He's about 9 or 10 years old. He spoke up and related what he was reading or what was being read to him in the 60s of, this seems like it's happening now. So that was very impactful for a lot of our staff to know that we were on the right track with helping the Neighborhood Center develop that day of service. Yes. And again, I always go back to a beautiful thing when I talk about serving the kids in the community.
Yeah, I remember them making signs that were relevant to today's issues.
Absolutely.
And as you said, doing the Peace March around the Neighborhood Center, so that was a great day. What might be some particular concerns among school resource officers?
Yeah, so strategically, the Center for Safe Schools follows the trends across the Commonwealth and nationwide. And by monitoring those trends, we can apply very specific resources to the school resource officers and to the schools to help them in their roles. So as we've had a big push for threat assessment implementation in schools, we provide training for them to be part of those teams. We also provide supports during critical incidents to help them through and help them mitigate those different emergencies and make sure that these mandates aren't simply just the checking of a box. They actually can be implemented. And as you know, we're very geographically diverse across the Commonwealth, and those needs range in different heights. So we have to make sure we have connections throughout the state and deploy them to the specific site-specific needs that they have.
The work that you've been able to engage in at the Center for Safe Schools really has had a more national approach to it. So kudos to you for really expanding the reach of the Center for Safe Schools, which was primarily statewide, but understanding that nationally, right, this idea of the diversity that happens among school districts and where there's what setting they're in, what kind of students they serve, and what those communities and families look like, really does bring another layer to your expertise around school safety and how you can support school resource officers as the director of the Center for Safe Schools.
Because there seems to be some confusion, right, about what SEL is good for, what it's not supposed to do, what it is supposed to do, and why all schools, all students, and even adults, why it's important for them. So can you share a little bit about what's your perspective on SEL's importance for all of these different types of groups?
I think when we use the term SEL, social emotional learning, we sometimes mean social emotional learning interventions, but we don't use that word. But social emotional learning, or as we call it in our lab, social emotional and character development, is just a label for something that is inside every single one of us, from the moment of birth until the moment of passing from this earth. It's been true from time immemorial. So when people say, well, we can't have SEL, I mean, that's like saying we can't have oxygen in the air. It makes absolutely no sense. because these are the skills that enable us to get along in the world. They enable us to converse with each other. They enable us to establish respectful relationships. They enable us to focus and concentrate so we can learn and build other skills. Social emotional learning is what helps our valued outcomes to happen. And so they need to be pervasive. In fact, they already are pervasive, but what happens is we don't always teach them intentionally, and we don't always include every single student in the teaching. And so now what we understand from research is that if you don't have these skills, you are as impaired as if you don't have reading skills. And we want every one of our kids to optimize their opportunities for the future. And the way to do that is to make sure that every child goes to a school that prioritizes social, emotional, and character development as an equal priority with anything else that happens in the school.
So could you tell me a little bit about this shift from child abuse prevention to this terminology about promoting child well-being?
Yeah, thank you. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's recognized nationally. And there's a conversation in the field about moving from the idea of prevention of child abuse and neglect to promotion of child well-being as a more holistic approach. It's having us, and you alluded to this, it's having us ask what's strong instead of what's wrong. And it really helps center conversations with families around what they have that will help promote the healthy development of their children. So it also, this idea of promoting child well-being takes us out of individual family situations and helps us think about the communities where families live. And so we need to also be thinking about families' neighborhood, income level, and other societal factors that make parenting more challenging. And I think you also alluded to that. And one other thing about thinking about child well-being and this more holistic approach is thinking about family members as leaders in their community. And then not just asking for feedback, how did that program work? Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down, do we do that again or not? But really inviting family members to the table when the community's setting the plans for what services will be available in our community.
So we have been working on these efforts on behalf of the Pennsylvania Department of Education since 2016. And in Pennsylvania, historically, there are over 20,000 children who experience foster care annually. Our statewide work at the center really focuses on ensuring that students experiencing foster care have the right to school stability and also to ensure their equitable access to school. Our primary goal at the end of the day is ensuring that students experiencing foster care have positive school experiences.
Well, thank you so much for that, Matt. I know that May is, as you mentioned, National Foster Care Month. And so can you tell me just a little bit more about the campaign that the center has developed to create awareness?
We are so excited about our 2023 campaign. People may already have ideas about children experiencing foster care or even presume their ability to achieve in school. And so we want to demystify some of those negative stereotypes with our campaign by raising awareness. With our campaign this year, we're very excited about it. We want to raise awareness and also celebrate the strength and resilience of students experiencing foster care across Pennsylvania. And so our staff has created a community outreach toolkit, which you can find at pafostercare.org. And the toolkit includes things like social media graphics, social posts, key facts and statistics that educators and youth serving professionals can grab and use and share, and also has things that they can do to take action to raise awareness throughout the month. So we're very excited about our toolkit. We also have an upcoming webinar on May 19th called Exiting Foster Care, a Successful Transition to Adulthood, that we are holding with the Youth Law Center. And as you had already mentioned, we are hosting a Wear Blue Day on Friday, May 12th. And so everyone can show their support by wearing blue and posting to their social media accounts using Wear Blue for foster care. Children in foster care are placed there at no fault of their own, but they do need a network of support to heal and to help them succeed.
So the Migrant Education Program has a very special place in my heart. In 1993, my father immigrated to Biglerville, Pennsylvania. Soon after, we followed, and because of the work that my father did, I was eligible for the program. Soon after arriving in Biglerville, we had contact by the Migrant Education Program, specifically one of the recruiters, who came to my home, interviewed my family, and because of the work being done by my father, we were enrolled into the program and began receiving services. Since 1993, I have been involved with the program in one way or another. In elementary school, I attended a lot of the leadership programs, a lot of the after-school programs, and had advocacy visits by migrant education staff. Once I moved on to the high school, I was able to participate in more of their college visits, a lot of their leadership programs again, and was able to have visits by advocacy professionals that came to my home to make sure I was on the right path to graduate. After graduation, it was a migrant education staff member who assisted me in completing my college application. Because of that, I was able to attend Penn State University through the CAMP program, which is the College Assistant Migrant Program. That program is a one-year advocacy program that helps first-generation migrant students succeed and make it past that first year. After that, they provide more assistance to make sure that they graduate. Soon after graduating from college, I was approached by the same student support specialist who assisted me with my college application, and she recruited me to work with the Migrant Education Program. 2008 was the start of my professional journey with the Migrant Education Program, and since then I've been working in one way or another, different capacities, different roles, but I've been with the Migrant Education Program since then.